Welcome to the Roncast, where entrepreneurs find killer tips, techniques, and tools to start and growth hack any business. Brought to you by one of Canada's favorite business personalities, Ron Davies. Enjoy the show.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Roncast. I'm your host, Ron Davies. Hey, today is kind of a follow-on for what we were talking about yesterday. I mentioned that I kind of identified that the people that listen in to what I have to say were primarily in an age group that's about 45 and over, right? So what's interesting about this age group is that it is where, first of all, the most affluent and experienced generation is. The generation before them, so the early boomers, they were primarily a very hardworking generation, but they were not particularly innovative. The innovations that we see nowadays are all sitting squarely on top of what late boomers developed. Facebook, for example, sits on top of the internet, developed by a boomer. Just a later boomer. So same as email, same as instant messaging, same as cell phone technology. All of this stuff developed by baby boomers. So baby boomers are very well practiced at entrepreneurship and innovation. They're also the wealthiest, broadest generation of wealth, I guess is a way to put it. And they're kind of at a place in their lives now where they're either, as a result of COVID, maybe even, they're not really working anymore. They're kind of retiring, and they're trying to figure out, how do I best budget for my retirement when I want to leave a bunch of money for my kids, or maybe I don't want to. What am I supposed to do? So what I wanted to do is, particularly if you're, say, 55 years old and above, but 45 it applies as well. This is really for you. So I think it's important that between, say, 50 or 55 and death, that's the time to use the money that you've saved up, right? Use this and enjoy it. Don't keep it for those who may have no notion of the sacrifices that you've made to get it. Remember, there's nothing more dangerous than a son or a daughter-in-law with big ideas for your hard-earned capital. Just kind of a word of warning also. This is also a really bad time for investments. Even if it seems wonderful or foolproof, there's just too much turmoil going on. So unless you're already really good at investing, or you already have lots of investments, carry on, but it's not a good time to enter into new ones. And the thing is, if you're not savvy with investments, if you don't have a high risk for tolerance as a young person, as an older person, putting money up at stake, risk money as it were, it only brings problems and worries. This is really a time in your life for you to enjoy some peace and quiet and not be, worried about that. And speaking of worrying, stop worrying about the financial situation of your children and of your grandchildren. And don't feel bad spending the money you earned on yourself. You've taken care of your children and grandchildren for many years. You've taught them, what you could. You probably gave them an education or were very involved in it. You provided food and shelter and support. The responsibility financially now is theirs. They've got to go out and earn their own money, right? Try to live a healthy life, but without a lot of great physical effort. Do moderate exercise, like maybe walking each day or a little bit of fitness stuff, whatever that might be. We have a gym in the basement here that we use. We've got free weights on it. Exercise exercise bicycle. We've got one of those towers, for doing pull-ups and Roman sit-ups and all that kind of stuff. But you don't have to do a lot. It's, longevity comes through fluidity and movement. The Asians believe that the secret to a good quality long life is just walking, believe it or not running. In fact, running And that age group is more dangerous than beneficial. So, it's easy to become sick as you get older, and it gets harder to remain healthy. And this is why you've got to keep yourself in shape, be aware of your medical and physical needs, be in touch with your body, keep in touch with your doctor. And your doctor might not be, the MD, the medical doctor. Your doctor might be someone that does Bowen or Reiki or some other practitioner. I know from my own experience that what I consider to be good medical help no longer comes from doctors or any of those kinds of things. I'm very grateful to them for having, Western medicine and science saved my youngest son's life when he was not even 2. He was diagnosed with leukemia. This is a very long time ago. It was ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. That's what ALL stands for. And he was a survivor among a bunch that didn't survive. So I'll always be very grateful for that. And by the way, he's super healthy now. He's full of piss and vinegar and very ambitious. And he's got, I don't know how many bank accounts and tax-free savings accounts and investments and drip plans. And, he trades and whatnot. And he's 21, right? So he's very, very active and he's just fine. But my point is that, you got to keep kind of in touch with your doctor. Get tests even when you feel well. Just, stay informed. Sticking your head in the sand is not a good strategy for health, particularly, midway through life and after. Always buy the very best, most beautiful things for your significant other. Whoever that is, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, fiance, whatever you call them. The key goal is to enjoy your money with that partner. One day, one of you will miss the other. That's just going to happen. And having a big bag of money in the account will not provide comfort then. So enjoy it together. Of course, have your life insurance. So whenever should you expire or the other one expire, there is that money there for living on. But enjoy the money that you have sitting in the bank. And regardless of what your age is, you got to keep your love alive. Love your partner, love life itself, love your family, love your neighbor. And remember that a man is not old as long as he has intelligence and affection. Some people will say, geez, I don't want to live to be, 85 or 95. But you know what? There are people that are 85 and 95 that have great lives. They have high quality lives because they have high quality relationships in those lives. And according to the Harvard study, it was a 75-year-long study that basically surveyed Harvard students from back in the late 30s. They were alumni or became alumni in the 1930s, and it followed them every year through their lives. Some of them became wildly wealthy. Some of them, the opposite was true, but it followed them through and it pulled them on criterion that counted towards measuring their happiness. And you know what? Unanimously, the result was that there is no tie whatsoever between financial wealth and happiness. There's no connection. Right? Nothing at all. This is a Harvard study. The single most salient factor in how happy people are was the quality of the relationships in their life. Now, they didn't say the quality of their marriage or the quality of their family. They said relationships. Relationships is a little more global. Relationships is about, of course, your significant other, your friends, your family, your children, but it's also relationships with your dog, relationship with the environment. Are you living in a place that makes you happy? Relationships with your plants, because your plants bring you joy. So it was about the quality of relationships. So even though primarily the people that I speak to are, guys like you, ladies like you, affluent people, they would be considered affluent. Well, affluence is fine. We all know that, but it is not the key to happiness. People will say, well, Ron, I'd rather cry myself to sleep in a Mercedes than on a bicycle. Well, yeah, that's arguable, but the Mercedes won't make you happy, So be proud, be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you've done in your life. Don't stop, going to your barber or your salon. Take care of yourself. Go to the dentist. Take care of your teeth. Keep whatever indulgences you have in terms of perfumes or creams or lotions. When you're well maintained on the outside and you're groomed, it kind of creeps into you and seeps in, and you feel proud, you feel strong, you feel good about yourself. And feeling good about yourself, I know I sound kind of like a Wonder Bra commercial from the 80s here, but feeling good about yourself also actually makes you healthier. There's a lot of psychology behind that. Don't kind of lose sight of fashion trends for your age. I get made fun of from time to time because I goof around with fashion just for shits and giggles. You know, I'll wear a plaid shirt with a completely different plaid pair of shorts to go play golf because I know it drives people nuts and I have fun with that. But don't lose sight too far of fashion for your age. Keep your own sense of style. Be you, right? You've developed your sense of style over decades, and what you feel looks good on you, keep it and be proud of it. It's part of who you are. And try to be up to date. You know, I'm not a big fan of watching the news at 11 o'clock at night and then going to bed, in no small part because what I learned from Brian Tracy, business coach, many years ago, is that whatever you put into your mind just before you go to sleep gets a lot of consideration by the subconscious while you are sleeping. So all the negative shit that you see on the news is not particularly good for your subconscious. But that aside, you know, stay on top of what's going on in the world, that particularly things that relate to you, not, you know, how many shootings there were in the West End or how many awful things happened in traffic. Things that relate to you. If you're interested in investments, stay up on it. If you're interested in what's happening in, you know, financial markets or on the golf circuit or sports, stay up on that stuff, right? Because it's interesting. Make sure you have an active email account and try to use some of the social networks. They say that Facebook now is for old people. I guess so. I don't know. I kind of use a little bit just to see what my kids are up to and my friends are up to. And sometimes I manage to reconnect with someone that I knew back in grade school, which is kind of cool. You'd probably be surprised at, you know, what old friends that you can get reacquainted with. Now, the younger generation thing, I give them a hard rap. You know, I really do. I give them a hard time. But I think that we need to respect that younger generation and respect their opinions. They're certainly entitled to them. They probably don't have the same ideas that I do or you do, but they are the future and they'll take the world in their direction, whatever that is. So try to give advice when it's solicited, good advice, not criticism, not narrow-mindedness. Try to remind them that yesterday's wisdom still applies today. Wisdom is timeless. And don't use the phrase back in the day or in my time or when I was a young lad or those kind of things. Your time is now. As long as you're alive and I'm alive, well, we're part of this time, aren't we? You know, some people really embrace their golden years. You know, we all know couples that are like that, and they seem to have wonderful, happy lives, while others seem to become kind of bitter and surly and miserable and unapproachable and withdrawn, and, you know, they kind of shut themselves in. Well, life, as we're all finding out, is too short to waste days on feeling, you know, miserable. Spend your time with the positive, cheerful people in your lives. It'll rub off on you. Your days seem that much better. So find the good things in life. My mom is a little older, and she's in her 80s now. And when she gets on the phone with me, the first thing she does, she'll say, "Oh, you know, how are you?" I'll say, "I'm fine, Mom. How are you?" And then she'll go through this whole, almost seems like a rehearsed list of all the shit that's wrong in her life and all the things going wrong with the people that live where she is, all the health issues and the deaths and the disease. And then I'll say, "So, Mom, what was nice about today? What did you see that was beautiful in your day? Or what did you enjoy when you went out with Bert?" And that's my stepdad. You know, what did you find in the world that's beautiful? Because it's easy to spot the shit, but it's also easy to spot the nice stuff. Just nobody practices that as much as we should. So spend the time with positive people. Surround yourself with positive people. Leave the toxic people out of your life. They're not worth it. And it doesn't matter. I don't care if it's your spouse. If she's toxic to your life, she needs to be out of it. And you need to be out of hers, because my bet is you guys are equally toxic to each other. So you're not doing one another favors staying together. How much life do you have left? 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years? I don't know. But shouldn't you be spending it happily? Right? I mean, make your decisions based on information, not hostility or emotion. But you need to remove toxicity from your life, right? Spending